Welcome back to Constructive Talks and We Speak Forward for part 2 of our conversation about why support sometimes comes from the people who owe us nothing. Let us begin with the sentence almost everybody has heard. I support you. My support just looks different. Sometimes that is true. Not everybody expresses care through words, money, attendance, physical affection, or public praise. But sometimes that phrase is used to avoid admitting, I have not really shown up. Support does look different. Some people call every day. Some fix things, provide transportation, watch children, cook meals, or quietly send money. They may never post your achievement or give an emotional speech. We should not overlook practical support because it does not arrive in the form we prefer.
Agreed, but support that is completely invisible to the recipient needs examination. If you insist you are supporting me, but I cannot identify any action, communication, encouragement, protection, or contribution, then your definition may exist mainly to make you feel better. Intent matters, but impact matters too.
Younger people sometimes expect support to be public because public visibility is part of how relationships are measured online. If a friend never likes, shares, comments, or posts about your work, it can feel like rejection. But a person may support privately and avoid social media. We need to separate digital proof from meaningful presence.
The question is not whether everybody supports identically. The question is whether the person's version of support actually nourishes the relationship. A person cannot hand you an empty plate and say, my food looks different. Difference should still provide something recognizable.
We also need to ask whether the person has clearly communicated what they need. People become resentful because someone failed a test they never knew they were taking. You expected attendance, a phone call, a purchase, or public encouragement, but never said it mattered. Support cannot always be evaluated against unspoken expectations.
That is true in business and personal relationships. I may think sharing your event is helpful while you needed me to attend. I may offer advice while you needed me to listen. Mature relationships allow people to say, I appreciate what you did, but this is what would have helped me most.
We should also respect the right to say no. Support does not mean unlimited access. Somebody may love you and still decline to loan money, work for free, share a private contact, or become involved in a conflict they do not understand. Boundaries are not automatically abandonment.
Yes, but boundaries should not become a beautiful word placed over selfishness. We must examine patterns. Is the person unavailable whenever support requires inconvenience? Do they appear only during celebration? Do they use boundaries exclusively to avoid responsibility while expecting everyone else to show up for them?
Patterns reveal the truth. One missed event does not mean someone is unsupportive. 10 years of absence followed by a speech about loving you differently is another matter. We should judge support across time, not one emotional moment.
That brings us to the 4 quarters of support. Some people help in the first quarter when the idea is exciting. Others appear in the 4th quarter when success is visible. The rare supporters remain connected during the quiet middle quarters when progress is slow, setbacks occur, and nobody is applauding.
The 2nd and 3rd quarters are where relationships get exposed. That is when the project is taking longer than expected. The person is repeating the same fears, or the family crisis has stopped being new. Sympathy is easy during the announcement. Sustained presence requires patience.
Some people contribute once and emotionally retire. They remind you for years about the one ride they gave, the one bill they paid, the one introduction they made, or the one night they listened. That single act becomes a lifetime membership card, proving they are supportive.
One act can be significant, though. We should not minimize a person's contribution because it was not repeated. Someone may have helped during the most critical moment. The problem is not remembering the contribution. The problem is using it to excuse every later absence or demand permanent control.
Exactly. Gratitude should be specific, and accountability should remain current. You helped me then, and you are not supporting me now can both be true. Relationships become dishonest when past generosity is used to cancel present reality.
Families do that a lot through sacrifice language. Parents say, after everything I did for you, and children say, I never asked to be born. Both statements contain pain, but neither creates understanding. Parenting requires sacrifice, and adult children still need room to make choices without every disagreement becoming a debt collection.
Family support becomes unhealthy when love is offered as ownership. I raised you, so I control your life. I helped you, so you owe me access. We share blood, so you cannot establish boundaries. That is not solidarity. Solidarity respects the humanity of everyone involved.
But independence should not become forgetfulness. Some adults benefit from family sacrifices and later act as though they achieved everything alone. They move forward, become successful, and distance themselves from the people who carried them. Boundaries should protect health, not erase gratitude.
The balance is difficult because some families demand repayment in forms that destroy the adult child's stability. A person may be expected to finance every crisis, employ every relative, solve every conflict, and remain constantly available because they became successful. Collective responsibility must not turn one capable person into the family's permanent emergency system.
That is where younger generations push back. We have watched people become exhausted from always being the dependable one. We say, protect your peace, because we do not want to inherit that pattern. But sometimes we overcorrect and treat every request as toxicity. The community cannot survive if nobody is willing to be inconvenienced.
That sentence matters. The community cannot survive if nobody is willing to be inconvenienced. Support often interrupts our schedule, costs something, requires listening when we are tired, or asks us to care about something that does not directly benefit us. A world built entirely around convenience will eventually produce emotional abandonment.
The key is shared responsibility. The same people should not always carry the load. In a healthy family or friendship group, support moves. One person helps today, another helps tomorrow, and everyone contributes according to capacity. Resentment grows when generosity travels in only one direction.
Workplaces have similar patterns. One dependable employee is constantly asked to train others, fix mistakes, take extra assignments, and maintain morale. Management calls them a team player while quietly exploiting their reliability. Support for the organization should not require one person to absorb everyone else's lack of accountability.
Friend groups do it too. There is always the planner, driver, listener, lender, peacemaker, or person who remembers birthdays. Everyone benefits from their emotional labor, but rarely asks whether they are tired. The supporter becomes invisible because the group assumes they are naturally strong.
And sometimes strangers notice that exhaustion before family does. A coworker says, "You are carrying too much." A new friend asks, "Who checks on you?" The person may become emotional because everybody close to them has become accustomed to receiving from them.
Familiarity can make people careless, but the strong person may also hide their needs. They present themselves as capable, reject help, and then resent others for believing them. Support requires vulnerability. People cannot respond to needs we work hard to conceal.
True, but some people stopped expressing needs because earlier attempts were ignored or used against them. They learned that competence was safer than vulnerability. When an unexpected person responds without judgment, the experience can feel almost shocking.
That is why strangers sometimes get the honest version. There is less fear that the information will be repeated at the next family gathering. A person may tell a new friend something they have hidden from relatives for years because the new relationship does not carry the same history of gossip or judgment.
Confidentiality is a form of support. Protecting someone's vulnerability matters. Family members sometimes assume shared blood gives them permission to share private information. "We are all family" becomes an excuse for violating trust.
And some people tell the entire family because they believe collective knowledge is necessary to help. Their intention may be concern, but the person should still have agency. Unless there is immediate danger, support should not require taking control of somebody's story.
In business, confidentiality is equally important. Someone shares an undeveloped idea, and the listener repeats it carelessly or takes it to another person. Trust disappears. Support includes knowing when information is yours to use and when it is yours only to protect.
We should talk about performative support. People attend the launch, take photos, post congratulations, and disappear when the person needs help fulfilling orders, editing materials, cleaning up, or recovering from the expense. The visible quarter receives energy because it offers social credit.
That is the fourth quarter supporter who wants to be near the trophy but was absent during training. They arrive once the achievement can reflect well on them. Then they speak as though they participated in the entire journey.
Still, we should allow people to join late without punishing them forever. Sometimes they did not understand the vision initially. Evidence changed their mind. The question is whether they acknowledge their earlier absence honestly or rewrite history and claim they always believed.
I respect somebody who says, "I did not see it before, but I see it now, and I would like to support what comes next." That is growth. The problem is pretending they were present all along. Honest support does not require perfect history.
And the person receiving support should decide whether late participation feels healthy. Forgiveness does not always require renewed access. Somebody can accept the apology and still protect the project from people who repeatedly discouraged it.
That is especially true when discouragement became cruelty. There is a difference between cautious questions and deliberate humiliation. People who mocked the dream, shared private failures, sabotaged progress, or abused the person are not entitled to return simply because success arrived.
We need the abuse distinction clearly stated. Nobody is obligated to reconnect with someone who has been physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially abusive. Solidarity does not demand returning to danger. Family title does not cancel the right to safety.
Nor does forgiveness mean pretending the harm never occurred. A person may release the emotional burden while maintaining distance. Support conversations become harmful when people use family unity to pressure survivors back into unsafe relationships.
Younger people deserve credit for making that clearer. We may misuse therapeutic language sometimes, but we have challenged the idea that enduring harm proves loyalty. We are trying to separate compassion from self-erasure.
The lesson is balance. We should not abandon relationships at the first discomfort, but neither should we glorify suffering as evidence of love. Support should help people become healthier, more capable, and more truthful. If the relationship requires somebody to become smaller, silent, frightened, or permanently indebted, it is not healthy support.
Support also includes correction. People sometimes want encouragement without accountability. A real friend may say, "Your idea is strong, but your behavior is damaging it." The stranger who tells you the truth may support you more than the relative who agrees with everything to avoid conflict.
In business, honest feedback is one of the greatest gifts. Somebody who reviews your work carefully and identifies weaknesses may feel less supportive than the person who says everything is wonderful. But useful truth protects you from entering the market unprepared.
Delivery matters. People use "I'm just being honest" as permission to be cruel. Constructive truth gives a person something they can use. Destructive criticism attacks identity and leaves the person ashamed without a path forward.
So we return to a guiding principle. Accountability should preserve belonging. "You need to improve" should not automatically become "you no longer belong with us." The strongest supporters can challenge our conduct without withdrawing our humanity.
So far, we have discussed family history, unexpected connections, business relationships, friendship, boundaries, and the four quarters of support. Now we are going to ask the larger question: how do we rebuild we in a culture that trains us to think primarily in terms of I?
I must keep returning to the classroom because it is one of the first places children learn, whether they are individuals competing beside one another or members of a shared learning community. When I substituted, I told the students, "You are a team. What one person does affects the whole team." The room changed because they were accustomed to discipline being framed only around the individual.
The team approach can work, but it must be handled carefully. When all the students look toward the child they expected to cause trouble, that could create accountability or scapegoating. The adult has to make clear that the team supports improvement. It does not gang up on one member.
That applies to workplaces too. Leaders talk about teamwork, but when something fails, they isolate one person and protect the system. Real team culture asks what processes, communication failures, resource limitations, and leadership decisions contributed. Individual accountability matters, but individuals operate inside environments.
Schools often say everybody belongs, then physically separate the child who talks too much, moves too much, learns differently, or struggles emotionally. Their desk is placed away from everyone else. The classroom receives a visual message. That person is the problem.
I remember asking a student why the desk was separated. The other children immediately answered that the student talked too much. I told the student to move the desk back because the child was still part of the class. The behavior needed guidance, but belonging should not have been removed.
Sometimes separation is temporarily necessary for safety or concentration, but it should have a clear purpose and a path back. Permanent isolation can become an identity. The child stops thinking, "I made a disruptive choice," and starts thinking, "I am the disruptive child."
Organizations do the same thing with employees. Someone makes one visible mistake and becomes the person associated with failure. Even after performance improves, leaders keep monitoring them through the old story. Another employee may make similar mistakes, but receive more grace because their reputation is different.
That is why labels are powerful. Problem child, lazy employee, dramatic friend, unreliable cousin, or difficult customer can cause people to interpret everything through one frame. Once the label sticks, ordinary behavior becomes evidence supporting it.
Teaching "we" means saying, your conduct affects the group, and the group has a responsibility to create conditions where better conduct is possible. That is different from collective punishment. I am not saying everybody should suffer because one child talks. I am saying everybody should understand that the learning environment belongs to all of them.
Adults must model that consistency. Children quickly identify which adult means what they say, which adult loses control, which adult humiliates them, and which adult is fair. Authority does not require yelling. Calm consistency creates a boundary children can understand.
Consistency is a form of support because unpredictability consumes attention. In a chaotic environment, children and adults spend energy reading the mood of the authority figure. They cannot focus fully on learning or working because they are trying to determine what version of the adult entered the room.
The same applies at home. A parent cannot ignore behavior for 6 days, explode on the 7th day, and call that discipline. Children need predictable expectations. They also need to know that correction does not mean love disappears.
The household should be the first team. Children should learn that everyone contributes to the shared space, checks on one another, and understands that individual choices affect the family. But they should not be burdened with adult responsibilities or made to feel responsible for keeping the entire household emotionally stable.
This is an important warning. Some families call it teamwork when the oldest child is actually parenting younger siblings, managing the parents' emotions and sacrificing their development. Collective responsibility must be appropriate to age and capacity.
In healthy teams, leadership carries more responsibility, not less. Parents, teachers, managers, and community leaders cannot demand unity while avoiding accountability for the environment they created. "We are a team" should not become a way for leadership to distribute blame downward.
Devices have become part of the environment. Adults hand a child a tablet because it keeps the child quiet. Eventually, the child reaches for it automatically. The family celebrates that the child can entertain themselves, but maybe the child has learned to isolate whenever human interaction becomes slow or uncomfortable.
The device can become the modern isolated desk. The child is physically in the room, but emotionally somewhere else. Everyone may be sitting together while living inside separate personalized feeds. The household becomes a collection of individuals rather than a shared ecosystem.
Technology is not the enemy. It can educate, connect relatives, develop creativity, and provide access to opportunities. The problem is substitution. When the device consistently replaces conversation, play, boredom, conflict resolution, and participation, the child loses practice being with people.
Adults are modeling the same behavior. We tell children to get off their phones while checking our own devices during dinner. We complain that young people lack attention while responding to notifications during their stories. Children learn the household's real priorities from observation.
Younger people are not without sympathy. we are exposed to an overwhelming amount of suffering. A death, joke, advertisement, fight, political argument, dance, and fundraiser may appear within 2 minutes. Constant exposure can create emotional overload that looks like indifference.
That is the watering down we discussed. Each generation may inherit less practice in sustained connection. The grandparent experienced daily neighborhood interdependence. The parent remembers fragments of it. The child hears stories about it. The grandchild understands it mainly as history.
But we should avoid romanticizing older communities. There was also silence around abuse, pressure to conform, exclusion of people who were different, and family secrets protected in the name of unity. We need to recover collective responsibility without recovering harmful control.
Exactly. The goal is not returning to a past structure unchanged. It is carrying forward the strongest parts: mutual aid, shared responsibility, intergenerational knowledge, and physical presence, while rejecting shame, forced loyalty, and the suppression of individual identity.
Younger generations may express solidarity differently. We organize online, share resources quickly, build communities around identities or interests, and connect across geography. The weakness is that digital solidarity can disappear when the topic stops trending. The strength is that people who felt isolated locally can find others who understand them.
So the older generation carries memory, and the younger generation carries new tools. Neither is complete alone. The elder may understand why the struggle matters, but not how to reach people through current platforms. The young person may understand the platform, but not the history beneath the message.
That requires mutual respect. Older people cannot begin every conversation by saying the younger generation has no values. Younger people cannot dismiss every lesson as outdated. Translation is necessary. The principle may remain while the method changes. So the older generation carries memory, and the younger generation carries new tools. Neither is complete alone. The elder may understand why the struggle matters, but not how to reach people through current platforms. The young person may understand the platform, but not the history beneath the message. That requires mutual respect. Older people cannot begin every conversation by saying the younger generation has no values. Younger people cannot dismiss every lesson as outdated. Translation is necessary. The principle may remain while the method changes. Businesses also need that translation. Community members say they want to support local and community-owned businesses, but the business may be difficult to find, more expensive, inconsistent, or unable to provide the service level people expect. Solidarity cannot depend entirely on guilt.
People will usually return to the big box store if it is affordable, convenient, predictable, and easy to access. That does not always mean they reject the community. It means the community business must compete inside the customer's real economic life.
Supporting one another does not mean lowering the standard. It means helping one another reach and sustain the standard. Shared marketing, cooperative purchasing, mentorship, technology support, customer service training, and community directories can strengthen businesses without pretending every experience is acceptable.
And business owners must receive feedback without calling every criticism disloyalty. Customers should communicate respectfully, but identity cannot be used to protect poor service indefinitely. Solidarity includes accountability because weak practices eventually harm the entire community.
The same applies to constructive media. We complain about fights, humiliation, and drama dominating social feeds, but constructive alternatives must be consistent, interesting, accessible, and well-produced. People need somewhere meaningful to go, not only lectures about what they should stop watching.
Exactly. A fight captures attention immediately. Constructive content must earn attention through strong storytelling, honest conversation, and formats people actually use. We cannot shame audiences into becoming interested. We must create material that respects their intelligence without ignoring how attention works.
That is why radio, television, podcasts, publishing, and community conversations matter. These are not simply content outlets. They can become cultural infrastructure. They can preserve stories, teach systems, introduce experts, challenge harmful conditioning, and keep important issues alive after headlines disappear.
Participation also extends beyond media. Voting matters, but civic responsibility does not begin and end with presidential elections. Local judges, prosecutors, school boards, councils, sheriffs, coroners, and state representatives affect daily life. People need to understand how those systems work before a crisis forces them to learn.
Professional participation matters too. Join associations, attend meetings, mentor young people, share opportunities, build directories, and explain hidden rules. Communities lose power when knowledge remains trapped inside individual careers.
Younger people need invitations that are real. Adults say young people should participate, but then control every agenda, dismiss their language, and treat their ideas as immature. Participation grows when people have meaningful roles rather than symbolic seats.
The household is still where that begins. Children should hear, "Your life matters, but it is not the only life that matters. Your goals belong to you, but what you learn can help others. You are an individual, and what you bring into a room affects everyone."
They should also see adults practicing it. Who does the family check on? Which community events do they attend? How do they speak about struggling relatives? Do they share knowledge? Do they support only when cameras are present? Children study the behavior beneath the speech.
Families can practice "we" through simple routines, shared meals without devices, rotating responsibilities, checking on an elder, discussing local issues, supporting one person's project together, and allowing children to contribute appropriately to decisions. Solidarity becomes real through repetition.
And children should be allowed individuality inside the team. We should not erase personality, privacy, dreams, boundaries, or disagreement. A healthy collective does not require everybody to become the same person. It teaches people how to remain connected while being different.
That balance may be the heart of the entire episode. I is not the enemy. A person needs identity, agency, confidence, and boundaries. We becomes necessary because nobody creates themselves alone, and no society remains healthy when everyone treats another person's struggle as irrelevant.
The strongest support does not always come from the person with the closest title. It comes from the person willing and able to respond constructively in the moment. Sometimes that is family. Sometimes it is a friend. Sometimes it is a professional contact. Sometimes it is someone we never expected to meet.
And receiving unexpected support should expand our generosity. We should remember what it felt like when someone said our name in a room, explained an unwritten rule, reviewed our work, or encouraged us without obligation. Then we should become that person for someone else.
Not because everybody is automatically trustworthy or because we must rescue everyone. We can practice discernment and still remain human. We can have boundaries without becoming indifferent. We can protect our peace without treating inconvenience as harm.
Support has no last name. It does not become authentic merely because it comes from family, and it does not become suspicious merely because it comes from a stranger. Its authenticity is revealed through dignity, consistency, honesty, accountability, and the freedom it gives people to grow.
Family titles should describe a relationship, but they should never replace the work required to maintain one. We must remain willing to meet the people we love again, because they are not frozen inside the version we first knew. A stranger may recognize their present potential because we have become too committed to their past.
Support needs both compassion and truth. We should not assume every cautious relative is jealous or every encouraging stranger is trustworthy. Look at patterns, actions, capacity, and impact. Appreciate support wherever it appears, but keep your judgment and remain accountable for what you are asking others to carry.
One constructive conversation can change a person's direction. One introduction, recommendation, question, or honest review may become the bridge between hidden ability and visible opportunity. We should not underestimate what we can offer simply because we do not know someone well. Sometimes fresh eyes are exactly what their future needs.
The old methods we use to create connection is changing, but it does not have to disappear. We can use new tools to build real community instead of temporary attention. We can establish boundaries without losing compassion and create individual lives that still contribute to something larger. I and we can exist together when neither is used to erase the other.
So why does support sometimes come from people who owe us nothing? Perhaps it is because they have not inherited the expectations, competition, wounds, labels, and unfinished history attached to our familiar relationships. They meet the person who has arrived, not only the person who existed before.
But the deeper challenge is not simply to search for supportive strangers. It is to become people who can see those closest to us with fresh eyes, people who can recognize possibility without demanding ownership, and people who understand that support is not a title we claim. It is a practice we demonstrate.
Thank you for tuning in to Constructive Talks and We Speak Forward. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, check the links out in the description. Until next time, go have a blast and support someone unconditionally.